A new streamlined train, the Coronation Scot, was to be introduced in 1937 for the coronation of King George VI. The train ran until the start of World War II in 1939. A new series of locomotives were introduced, the Princess Coronation Class, the most powerful express locomotives in Britain. The forerunner, Coronation Scot, named after the train it was intended to pull, set a then record speed of 114 miles per hour, later to be beaten by a German streamliner and then the A4 Pacific Mallard. They were originally streamlined and painted to match the colours of the new rolling stock, Caledonian blue with silver stripes. But locomotives 6230 to 6234 and all the locomotives built after 1943 were not. In 1939, Duchess of Hamilton was sent over to America for the World's Fair, swapping identities again with the forerunner of its class. Only this time their original numbers were eventually given back. The streamlined locomotives were expensive to maintain, and during the war the streamlining was worn out. After the war they were rebuilt to look like their non-streamlined sisters, the only difference being the shape of the running plates at the front. Henry George Ivett modified the design for the last two locos in 1947. They were built with roller bearings. On the 8th of October 1952, the worst peacetime rail crash happened at Harrow and Wealdstone station in North London. There was a double collision. Firstly, when a fast sleeper train from Scotland, hauled by a Coronation Class Pacific, crashed into the back of a local train, and then a double-headed express train, hauled by Princess Anne, originally the Turbomotive, and a Jubilee class from Manchester. 112 people died in the crash. The two locomotives hauling the train from Manchester to Euston were scrapped, and the Coronation class was recovered and was rebuilt. A replacement for the destroyed Princess Royal class was built in 1954, Duke of Gloucester. It was built as part of the series of 999 standard class locomotives designed by Robert A. Riddles, built towards the end of steam. It was also the very last express locomotive built for British Rail. However, it was not successful. Sometimes it didn't steam well and it consumed prolific amounts of coal and water, making it unpopular with crews. After a working life of only 8 years, it was sent to Barry Scrapyard, where it was bought and returned to steam in 1986. Despite a bad working life, it is now a popular locomotive on the main line and with enthusiasts too. Under British Rail's modernisation plan in the 1960s, all of the locomotives were eventually withdrawn. The majority, but not all of them, were scrapped. 2 Coronation Class locomotives and 1 Princess Royal Class were purchased by Sir Billy Butlin and were put on static display at his holiday camps, appropriately located near railways. Number 6201, Princess Elizabeth, along with GWR King Class King George V and the Bullied Merchant Navy were preserved at Bulmers Railway Centre in Hereford. However, all 5 engines mentioned have since seen service on the main line, and Duchess of Hamilton, which was one of the engines bought by Butlin, has been restored, thanks to Steam Railway magazine, in original streamlined condition. Also preserved is Coronation Class City of Birmingham, at a museum on static display in its namesake city. The Jubilees, however, survived almost to the very end of steam, and no less than 4 have survived into preservation. 3 of these have seen mainline running since their withdrawal. Who would think, over 70 years on, these legends would still be seen as they were in their heyday?